situation where it's possible to sit down and have deep dialogues on topics that are important to both communities, like God, and each community's relationship with God, how they understand God. This is deeply significant. It wasn't always the case. In previous years, it was thought that only a theologian could sit down with another theologian of that tradition to talk about God. We see this shifting. We now have interreligious dialogue and Catholic Jewish dialogues that are including all levels of community members. And Catholics and Jews are studying together. Walking God's Paths is an example of this, a curriculum that was issued by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. So we see a transformation in the relationship that's positive, that is not perfect, but has established enough trust where these groups can talk about serious issues that are concerning them and the rest of the world. And I think this leads me maybe to the contemporary side of things, where it's important to recognize that though there is suspicion and fear of other religious groups in our culture, and I think we're plagued by this in an especially pervasive way this year, in ways we haven't seen before, where religious freedom is being threatened for a number of groups. We have tools to respond to this. Catholics are called to be peacemakers in particular. Catholics are called to make peace with the other religions, to know them and to mutually understand them, to seek study of their religion, to get to know it on a factual knowledge level, but then also through relationship, through dialogue. So Nostra Aetate called Catholics to dialogue, to sit down with the other religions and understand them, and to build friendships. One of the most significant ways I think that we can respond to the suspicion, to the fear in our society, is to deliberately build bridges of peace between these other groups and ourselves, between Catholics, between Muslims, between Jewish people, between Buddhist groups. We need to create these connections. I would also add agnostic groups, or those who don't identify with a particular religion. A culture of dialogue is necessary for peace, and actually Pope Francis has said just that. He said a necessary condition for peace in our world is interreligious dialogue. I think the Catholic-Jewish relationship, in that sense, can be looked at as a model for reconciliation. It's not impossible for two groups who find each other to be enemies, or to understand each other as somehow in the context of mutual hostility. It's not impossible to overcome that, to build trust and to build friendship, the sort of friendships that we see in the Catholic Jewish community. These friendships are important because they are the ways in which we are going to address issues of justice and peace, and to do so in a way that's effective, and to do so in a way that is not quick to respond to conflict with more conflict and with more violence, but perhaps by finding a way through dialogue, through understanding, through patient listening to one another.